commercial breaks. They have commercial breaks nowadays. Like, okay, there's a lull in like the show or something like that, like get get moving a little bit and then go out doing the regular thing. And then all of a sudden, like just showing up for yourself. So yeah, just showing up for yourself in those little moments creates those little habits that just kind of snowball in to more things. And you're like, oh, okay. Because you won't see the results, right? You won't see any results for another 3, 4 weeks if you're consistent, right? So that first
Yeah.
one is like, okay, whatever. I got it out of the way. Second one, third one, fourth. You're up to like, 2 weeks now. And all of a sudden you start feeling good and you're noticing the changes and you're going, "Oh, actually, this is actually working." So it's those little things you have, but it starts with the first step, which is just starting. And it doesn't have to be a huge leap. It just has to be one single small step to get you rolling, to get you the next one and the next one and the next one. So until you actually make it something a part of your life and, make it a lifestyle instead of just being an aspiration for, the new year. Right.
Right. And honestly, I love what you said there, because I always think of things that inspire me, because, I'll share this, this story, and this because, you've known me for a long time. I was in my shoot, 240 range, 235, 245 range, when I was younger. I was still very athletic, running, 4.3, 4.2, 4.3, 40-yard dash, played football. And I was just very athletic, talented, and I've worked my tail off. But what I didn't do, and this, and I shared it with you guys, is I didn't watch what I ate, right? I could have got up, and I did have these traits like, oh, I'll do this right now. Yes, I was younger at the
Right.
time, but as we get older, our body, we have to do more to maintain it, to slow down Father Time, right? And
Right.
you know, to me, what I always told myself, honestly, this is something I hope, people listen to. It's like, I was waiting for the perfect time.
Mm,
And to me, that's
yeah,
just a fancy way that I was like saying, hey, I'm going to quit before I start. Right.
exactly.
That's the thing. And excuses don't burn calories. Actions does, guys.
Yeah.
For me, what I had to do was I just went, so all of a sudden I just snapped. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something I've never done. I'm uncomfortable. It's going to suck. Started eating better, meaning, I tried to do what I can to just really eat. I don't want to use the word buy these expensive foods, but it's healthier, substituted the fried foods, my fried lumpia, fried Shanghai, adobo fried rice, and all these
Right.
beautiful things, delicious things, into just eating it less, very less, and in moderation. I wanted to eat, like you said, something with granola, oatmeal, something that had more fiber, right? A lot more different liquids, no more sugar, right? And I really wasn't a big soda guy to begin with, but soda is one that we could go into a different segment later, where, these high sugar processed foods are bad for us. But what I did is I made that choice, and it was very hard the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I felt lethargic. I felt like when I was jumping on a scale just to see what I would do, I was like, oh, I actually gained a few pounds. But guys, those few pounds, as I tell our clients, it's not because you're eating or you're gaining bad weight. No, because you're putting good food in. That is the fuel to get rid of the excess garbage that you're putting in your body to begin with when you're starting off. The challenge now is, after those first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, as you said, is the maintenance, is the consistency to do it, because it's easy to fail. It's easy to quit after 2 weeks, because that's why, people stop. Just like going into the new year, right? People will get into the gym January 1st. They'll try to do these things, and kudos to them for trying, but then they stop within 3 weeks. That's when 90% fail or stop doing. I don't want to say fail. Don't make it to February, right? Like everyone says New Year, but for what I'm trying to say here is, it took 3 months, right? And when I say 3 months, it was a transformation. It was a transformation of not just the physical health, which was great, but it was mental. It was that callus that I was building within my mind to be able to say, you know what? Now I'm going to be disciplined. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to pick this up. And I started building the habit, like you said, where, you know what? I'm going to get a little bit, consider it a little on the edge, maybe a little bit over the top, but it's not over the top if it makes me feel better, where in between a commercial, I'm going to get up and just bounce around, right? Or do some push-ups if I could do it. But I kept wanting to move, right? And that's the whole thing about, again, winning starts the moment you stop negotiating with your excuses. That to me is the biggest thing.